right, welcome. Thank you so much for attending the annual Sustainable Westchester members meeting. My name is Julie Chang. I'm co-chair of Sustainable Westchester, and my fellow co-chair, Jim Kuster. I've got to say, this is just a tremendous turnout, and we really very much appreciate it. I have the privilege of getting to provide guidance and support to this amazing organization. I also sit on I'm the chapter chair of the New York League of Conservation Voters, so I've seen a couple of you on Zoom lately. And I gotta say, I'm so proud of being in a county where our leaders prioritize the environment and really appreciate the need to create resilient, thriving, and sustainable communities. So without further ado, I'm gonna pass it to my co-chair, Jim, and we're gonna begin our proceedings.
Great. Thank you, Julie. It's been a pleasure being co-chair with Julie. I've had that pleasure with Sarah Goddard prior. If you recall, last year Sarah left the board due to term limits, so she had been on actually well in excess of her term limits. We were grateful to her, but so happy to have Julie in the co-chair role. And I've been on the board since 2018. So I've seen a lot of changes, and really it's a pleasure to see all of you here. We wanted to thank our hosts, Pace University, for making this space available. It's really a great room to be able to meet in, and not too big, so we don't need to use microphones. Hopefully everyone can hear us. If you have any trouble, just let us know. There's just a couple items of business to attend to at the very start of the meeting, so I'm going to try to get through those. As part of your registration materials, you did get in advance, there's 3 voting items for you, the members, and we're going to go through those as quickly as we can. 2 items are with regard to approval of directors, and the 3rd item is one technical change in the bylaws.
And Jim, before we take that vote, can we do quorum?
Oh, yep, okay, thank you. Kat Sales, who is the Chief Operating Officer of Sustainable Westchester. Do we have a quorum?
We do.
Okay, good. That box is checked. Thanks, Julie. So the first order of business is with regard to board nominees, new board members. During the course of 2025, we were able to bring on 6 new board members. We've increased the size of the board to 17. And it's a really wonderful group of people. I think you know a lot of them, and you'll get to know more of them as we move forward in this year. But the 6 new members that we're looking to approve as a slate are Nikki Armacost, Greg Elders, Kyla Mansa, Steve Manzi, Howard Permit, and Nigel Sizer. Again, you've already seen their bios in your registration materials, so I'd like to see if there's a motion to approve this slate of directors. Do I have a motion?
Second.
So, thank you. Seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Great. Motion passes. The second motion is with regard to returning board members. We do have terms of board members. There are 2 3-year terms, so it's a total of, 3 2-year terms, so a total of 6 years. And then there's the ability that the board has to extend terms on a selective basis if needed. These are all returning board members that we have up for your approval as a slate. Julie Chang, Ken Jenkins, who will arrive shortly, Sarah Kay, Mayor Sean Patterson Howard, June Wallach, and Warren Lucas. Do I have a motion to approve this slate of directors as for returning? And a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, the motion has passed. And the last, thank you, yes, thank you, Warren. The last item of business is an addition of a bit of language in section 602 of the bylaws. This is the same language that already exists in the bylaws with regard to board member terms. And so we're adding this language to also apply to officer terms. Sustainable Westchester is a corporation, a member corporation, 501c3. It has 4 officers, the 2 co-chairs, the treasurer, and the secretary. And if we do, from time to time, need to adjust the terms of officers, It is already, as I said, a board action item for board members, and so we're adding that language to officer terms. So that is the proposal, adding the language in bold, subject to exceptions specified by the board from time to time. Do I have a motion to approve this additional language?
So moved.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
Great. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Great. Thank you so much. That closes the administrative part of this meeting. The next part, I'd like to introduce Warren Lucas, the current and coming up next for this year, Treasurer of Sustainable Westchester, to present the finance report.
Thanks so much, Jim. And I want to, it's so great to see all these familiar faces here. You know, we get together once a year like this. A lot of times we're on Zoom, but it's just wonderful. And all the municipal leaders also. I'm going to take you through three different sets of numbers: assets, revenues, and expenses. It's going to be nice and simple. And what I wanted to do is just, if you take a look at the charts, it compares 2024, 2025. You know, one of the things that we're always focused on is cash, and cash increased, which is a wonderful thing. Not that we're a profit-making group here, but you need cash flow to run the business. And so the target, in my mind, has been 700,000 to $1 million. We're at 721 right now, which is a great number. You want to run about a third of the year. On the revenue side, revenue was up substantially, and it was all driven by programs. If you can see, the total is 285,000 increase. And when you compare that with the expenses, which is on the next screen, you'll see that basically for every dollar that went into expense, we generated about $1.75. Again, from a cash point of view, it's great from a stability point. You know, one of the things that how do I flick the next thing here?
It just got flipped.
Oh, wow, amazing! Thank you so much. So again, I was mentioning before, you take a look at the expenses. Up on the screen there, it's $168,000 total, and again, that's against a revenue of $295. So again, our goal, as I was saying before, is to really be a force multiplier for programs that the county runs or that individual municipalities will run. I'll give you an example. We're putting up solar right now on our town, $500,000 worth of solar. And it would not have been possible without one of the municipal solar programs that they started here. Not every program makes a lot of money, but it's also a force multiplier to help communities and individuals meet the state's CLCPA goals. So we're in great shape. 2025, the targets for cash are about where we'd like it to be, and it was down previously. So I have to commend the board and all the employees, and of course NOM for the great work that they've done. Any questions you have, I'll be happy to answer them later, but I think I'll leave it at that. Okay? NOM, I'd like to turn it over to you if I could.
Warren, thank you very much for not just for the introduction, but for your extraordinary work on behalf of Sustainable Westchester for many, many years. Warren has been a stalwart, and we're lucky to benefit from his financial guidance. And ladies and gentlemen, good morning to all of you. I'm delighted to join Jim and Julie in welcoming you to our annual meeting. And I'm honored to represent the entire staff of Sustainable Westchester. You're going to hear from several of them during the course of the program, but the whole team really deserves a shout out. Kat, Leo, Dan, not just one Lauren, but two Laurens, Jan, Tony, Megan, Yasmin, Enrique, Saul, Christine, Christian, Daniel. If you would either just wave your hands or stand up, and let's give them all a round of applause. As many of you know, I will be leaving this role in just a few days, and I would be remiss if I didn't express profound gratitude to the board and to my colleagues for the opportunity to contribute to a cause in which all of us believe so deeply. And I could not be more proud of what Sustainable Westchester has accomplished. A few quick numbers tell the story. And keep in mind that this is just about the past year alone. 320 new households enrolled in community solar. About 500 consulted with Energy Smart Homes. More than 3,000 participated in grid rewards, while 486 got free solar assessments, leading about 100 to install new systems. And congratulations, by the way, to Croton, Bedford, and Hastings, which achieved the highest participation rates. Let's give them a round of applause. Five municipalities participated in our Thermal Energy Network Accelerator, taking steps towards neighborhood-scale decarbonization. 6 municipalities tapped our expertise, as Warren said, to develop proposals for new solar installations, and 15 municipalities managed their energy systems through SmartKit AI, with Tarrytown, Peekskill, and New Rochelle leading the pack for dollars earned. Across the state, about 100 organizations applied for funding through our Renew America's Nonprofits program. Across the Hudson Valley, 20 school districts explored cleaner transportation solutions during our school bus electrification forum. And across the region, 450 job seekers connected with training and employment resources at our 3rd Clean Energy Career Fair. Thank you to the county, and Bridget is here, for their collaboration and sponsorship. We appreciate it so much. From EV fast chargers through our MOVE system, to help for affordable housing providers through STAMP, to electrified landscaping through our partnership with the American Green Zone Alliance. Sustainable Westchester is delivering for the people and communities of our county. And these are more than statistics. Each number represents a family working to lower their energy bills, a city, town, or village planning for the future, a student taking steps towards an exciting career, and they add up to a region that is more resilient and healthy and equitable. That is what you, collectively, have accomplished by founding this organization 12 years ago, and by continuing to partner with us today, proving that whatever the challenges globally and nationally, which all of us recognize, we have the agency here in Westchester to make a positive difference, to have a real impact, and that is worthy of celebration. Now, you're going to hear a lot more about our plans during the course of the program, but my spoiler alert is that we are very excited about 2026. And so we are going to actually have a guest who's going to arrive shortly that is related to those 2026 plans, but I'm going to, because she has not yet arrived, I'm going to skip ahead, and I'm going to ask Jim and Julie to come back up, if you don't mind, Jim and Julie. And they are going to introduce someone who will be in this role come Wednesday of next week. So if you would come on up, please.
And Noam, if you could just stay here. Before we do that, today is a wonderful opportunity to recognize someone who has been pivotal in creating the progress we have seen in the past 2 years. Noam, your leadership has elevated Sustainable Westchester. You have strengthened relationships across the county. You have championed our programs time and time again. And you have positioned Sustainable Westchester as a trusted partner in delivering results for our stakeholders and municipalities. Your steady leadership, and I apologize, my back to up something. Your steady...
Please, go on.
Your steady and thoughtful leadership has made a mark on this organization, and we're incredibly grateful. So on behalf of the board, and if could board members please stand up? On behalf of the board, we wanted to recognize you as a small token of our appreciation. We've made a collective set of donations to the organization in your honor and in your name to support the growth of the organization that you've helped build. We also have a personalized candy dish because this is what we heard Noam likes to do in the middle of the day, steal candy from people's offices.
Just mine.
Sour gummies, that sales, I know you were involved in that.
Filled with sour gummies, just in recognition of all the people whose lives that you've impacted and communities you've made better. So without further ado, if I could ask everybody just to acknowledge Noam and thank him for his leadership over the
Yeah, so let's do another one with the candy. So
The candy is kind of key in this whole moment.
This was a surprise to me, so I'm a little bit tongue-tied, but I could not be more grateful for those kind words and for the opportunity you've all given me. And I'd like to say the last 2.5 years have been about the clean energy transition and a better world, but really it was just about the swag and the candy. And finally, the effort has paid off. So truly thank you. And I'm also, that idea of donating to, collecting donations for a better cause is really meaningful. So
Yeah, and everybody's committed, so it was fantastic. Easy to do.
thank you. And let's move on before I get too embarrassed with the next stage of the program. So thank you all so much. Appreciate that.
So now we are so pleased to announce the selection of our interim executive director, fellow board member Tom Watson. He is an incredible individual and has kindly agreed to lead the organization over this critical period of time. So some of his accolades, I'm just going to have to read them because there are too many. Tom is president of Causewired, a consulting firm serving nonprofits in the social sector in communications, development, and strategic planning. I mean, what a tremendous fit. He brings extensive experience in nonprofit leadership, fundraising, and public engagement. And we are absolutely thrilled to have Tom's leadership during this important moment in Sustainable Westchester's journey. So please join me in welcoming Tom.
I have some very brief remarks. Very tough act to follow, and I don't have a candy dish. So thank you. It's really a great honor to be with all of you here today, to have served on the board over these last 2 years and now to help to lead this remarkable organization as we move forward. For a nonprofit that's just a dozen years old, Sustainable Westchester has a record of impact and true connection to all of the communities in this county that is very hard to match. As we all pursue this clean energy transition and a cleaner, more sustainable environment on a global basis, it's vital to recognize the role that those committed to public service play in this fight. All of you in this room, our member municipalities, our elected officials on all levels, our sustainability leaders, our citizens committees. This is a truly unique partnership. We all collectively feel the responsibility to make that partnership work through our programs, to reward your trust in us, and the imperative to be responsive to the needs of our Westchester cities, towns, and villages. And as Noam has just said, you're going to hear more about that work here this morning from our incredible Sustainable Westchester team. Let me just say that having served on the board these last 2 years, that I really value the resilience of the organization, the commitment and deep expertise of our staff, the support of our wonderful board members, and the generosity and vision of our donors and financial and service partners. To me, that resilience is so crucial. It really matters. 12 years in green energy and carbon reduction is like 30 years for a regular not-for-profit. This is such a fast-changing and challenging landscape. The technology is always evolving, so is the marketplace for our work, and we all recognize that we do face headwinds in terms of national policy, a shifting political landscape, concerns about affordability, and frankly, the need to make sure that our most at-risk communities are not left behind, not to mention a global energy crisis in the making. Yet, we in this room are persistent and resilient. This organization has so much to do, and there's so much there in front of all of us. So we need greater resources to pursue our mission. And I would be remiss if I didn't recognize our Majority Leader, Senator Andrea Stewart-Cousins, who just came in. And may I say, is helping greatly in that challenge. But here's a fact from an ABC News article that I read this week that I think many of you might already know, but I think should both encourage and challenge all of us. In 2005, the U.S. got 1% of its energy consumption from solar and wind, according to the Energy Information Administration. Last year, in 2025, that figure was 17%. So to me, that shows us two things. Change is definitely possible. We are making real impact. The needle can be moved. But there's still so much room to do more. 17%, and I know we're higher in this state and in this county, but there's a lot to be done out there, and I'm looking forward to pitching in on that with all of you. Finally, I'd like to mention two other renewable resources I'd like to see more of in public life: kindness and generosity. Those two qualities have been ever present in the person of Noam Bramson, who has done such important work to make sure Sustainable Westchester is able to reach this point in the spring of 2026, ready to tackle the challenges ahead of us. And for me personally, Noam's kindness and generosity in guiding this transition has been a very great deal to me. And I look forward to taking advantage of his wisdom and counsel in the years to come. So thank you, Noam. So once again, thank you all. I'm honored to be here, and I look forward to meeting all of you.
For my part, let me say how truly delighted I am to hand the baton to Tom, who has already been a great partner as a board member. We've been working, as he said, hand in glove to make sure that this is a seamless transition. And I will continue to be available to support Tom and the team in any way that I possibly can. As I said a little earlier, we have a special guest, which Tom recognized just a moment ago. And I want to say that the optimism that I referenced in my opening remarks is more than an emotional state. It is backed up by a huge vote of confidence and resources to match from New York State. As most of you know, we experienced a setback at the end of last year with the conclusion of the Westchester Power Program. But the governor and our state delegation understood that Sustainable Westchester, as a service provider and as a model for New York, was too important to place at risk. Together, they secured a grant of $750,000 to preserve ongoing programs and launch new ones. The indispensable person who made this happen was Senate Majority Leader Andrea Stewart-Cousins, who she mobilized her colleagues, she made the case, and she delivered in spectacular fashion. It is no exaggeration or hyperbole to describe this as the single largest gesture of allyship in Sustainable Westchester's 12-year history. We are so fortunate. Your timing is outstanding, County Executive. We are so fortunate that in the midst of Albany's very busy budget season, the Senator was able to join us today, and I'd like to ask her please to come up. Jim and Julie, Tom, thank you all. So, yes, please. So we naturally want to have some token of appreciation, and we were thinking about we're going to give her a plaque or an award or a proclamation. Our guess is you probably have like 6 closets full of those things. You don't know what to do with. You can't throw them out. You can't display all of them. You end up being like a hoarder with all of these things.
Fortunately, I have 4 different offices.
Distributed well. Right? So then we thought, and full credit to Tom on this, that the leader is not just a legislative powerhouse, she's also a fashion icon. And so we decided that, and I think Eileen Fisher's in your district, if I'm not
She's
mistaken.
mine,
So
yes.
a scarf to add
which
to your
I
collection.
don't have enough of either.
Well, you don't need one today.
And
Yes, of course, I need one every day. Every day I need a scarf.
And just to be clear, if any of you secure $750,000, we'll get you a scarf. You're in.
Thank you, Noam.
And Senator, if you'd like to say a few words, we're honored.
Oh, you want to see what it is? You know, it's funny because I tell you, so the fashionistas over here want to see if you all have good taste. So let's just see. Let's see how you did. You know, this morning I was looking for my Eileen Fisher scarf to go with this, and I'm like, did I leave it in Albany? So if you got me the same scarf, I'd be really terrified. But oh no, this is beautiful. No, this is lovely. Whoa, ooh, wow. All right. You know, I like that. I like the. We've got the beautiful, so you all know my color is what I wear. Good, okay. So I won't take up much time, just to thank you, to thank Sustainable Westchester for being just that. When I got the call from my friend who, you know, I've worked with for so long in New Rochelle and our varying capacities, and telling us about, you know, what happened after, you know, a decade of Westchester Power, how important it has been to so many municipalities, 26, including Yonkers. You know, I see the mayor, I see our other officials from Marinate. I mean, all of you are, obviously, I'll get into trouble, so let me not do that. Yeah, okay. I see you, but, which is great, because that is the point, that together we could do more than any one of us could do alone. And I just left a consortium of young people. We were up at SUNY Purchase, and you know, it's just so thrilled. It's on civic education, and they had young people there, and their professors, LIU, SUNY, this and that, talking about civic engagement and how important it was for, at a young age, to become involved, and that the regents in state ed have made this change where the portrait of a graduate now includes civic education. And so I left, yeah, it's a good thing. And so this was a whole afternoon of that. So then I left that campus, you know, funded by the state, to come here. And I'm a double alum, and actually got a doctorate from Pace. And here I am with all the adults, you know, who are civically engaged in something that is going to sustain our planet. And it is not lost on me how privileged we are to be in this state, in this county, with the level of not only capacity and intellect, but diversity and involvement that allows us to continue to be in the front lines, even when the times are difficult. So when I got the call from the mayor, and you know what's going on nationally, I know that this program was just too important to lose. And I see my good friend, our county executive, who's shaking his head because you too understand what this means to all of us and to beyond. So I was happy to be able to, you know, get together the resources to allow you a orderly transition, with the understanding that your mission is an imperative, and it is something that must be supported and continued. I know, Tom, under your leadership and your wonderful board, and all of our municipalities all over, we will continue to not only sustain Westchester, but be a guide for everywhere else, especially during a time where people aren't so sure if they actually, never mind, I won't go there. I will leave it on a happy note. So anyway, continued success. Thank you, Noam, for your friendship, and good luck to you as you move. And Tom, good luck to you as you move. And know that not only me, but again, as you said, the delegation of Westchester are supporting what you do. So call on us, and we will keep up the fight together. Thank you very, very much.
Senator, needless to say, you are more than welcome to stay for the program, but my guess is you have a jam-packed morning. So thank you for making time to be with us. Thank you for being such a wonderful friend. So I'm going to do a quick change in the run of show because, as we just heard, our county executive has joined us. I want to invite him up, and as Ken makes his way to the podium, let me say how fortunate we have been to benefit from Ken's leadership on multiple levels. First, of course, as the leader of Westchester County, who has made clear at every turn that clean energy and environmental protection is a priority for all of us. And then secondly, as a board member of Sustainable Westchester, who has not been a passive participant in our work, but in fact has really been deeply involved, active in a way that frankly would have exceeded any of our expectations. We appreciate that, Ken, and also your leadership team. Bridget, who I mentioned earlier, Pete McCart, where are you, Pete? We are blessed with terrific people that you have empowered to work with us, and if you're willing to say a few words, we'd be grateful, Ken. Thank you.
First, good morning, everybody. With Noam and the senator said, thanks so much. Have a great day. But the reality is that one, as Noam was pointing out, that for me, no matter what time you get engaged and involved in something, when you get involved in things that you really believe in, it actually makes a lot of a difference, right? So, I'm not just a hair club client, member client, and all that kind of thing. When I go home with the solar panels on my house, and with the 4 electric cars that we have, I've been a believer for a long time, right? I felt that I should get a different award from the New York League of Conservation Photos, but that's a different story. That's before Julie's time, right? But the reality is that we know that the times are changing and they're more difficult than ever, and we know Sustainable Westchester's role in that is going to continue to morph, and the leadership from all the municipalities, all of the partners, all of the advocates help make a difference. And again, for us, we're all committed to continuing this work, even though when there may be some people that aren't committed quite the same way. So with Jim and Julie, leading the team from the board perspective, I shook my hand a little bit because yes, I participate, but not as much as I really need to. But that's because we have great people, for me with Pete and Bridget and other folks to be able to make sure to do. But I show up when I need to and make sure that I'm just not doing a drive-by. And when Noam was talking to us and we were navigating through all of this together, that's part of the thing that's so important for us here in Westchester is the interaction and the relationships that we all have, no matter what part of the county that is, right? I was do my little Pelham to Peekskill to Pound Ridge, and then to Pleasantville. We got a lot of P's, right? So I can I can do all of this. But the reality is that we all talk to each other and we're all working together to make this difference. And Sustainable Westchester in this world with our federal government, the way the federal government is going to change, and we need all of the folks working together to do that. Through Noam's leadership, let's give another round of applause for Noam's leadership, right? We know he's not going anywhere because we know where he lives, right? And more importantly, we have a phone call number directly out to Katie because that's more important than everything else, right? But and Tom and doing his work and seeing how it's going to continue the team, and then we'll see what things happen as we go along. We're all pushing together to make that difference. But the last thing I wanted to say is for us in Westchester, we found out yesterday from the population growth around the state. And you all should be extremely proud of this because Westchester was not just one of the people that grew population from 24 to 25. We grew population by 6,025, 6,250 people. That was #1 in the state. Right? So congratulations to you. But we know we're going to keep working together in this world, in this environment, and Sustainable Westchester is part of that. Thanks a lot, everybody. Thanks a lot, Noel.
So we do want, just like last year, for this program to be at least partially interactive. When you came in, you all should have received little cards with a QR code. If you haven't already, I encourage you to scan that. You have an opportunity now or throughout the program to submit questions. Those questions can be submitted anonymously or with your name. And then later on, we will ask you all to upvote the questions that are of greatest interest to you. And we will try in real time to field the questions that receive the greatest level of interest from the crowd. So that's kind of open throughout the morning. And you may want to hold your upvote until people have actually displayed their questions so you know the full spectrum of options. But we want to make sure that we're covering things that are on your minds. We also want to have some questions for you. And so if you can stay on that same link, and if anyone's having difficulty, just raise your hand and we will assist you. And so for the first question for you, we really want to kind of take your temperature, no pun intended, about how you are looking at the challenges of climate change from 3 different levels. How you are prioritizing it yourself, how your municipal government as a whole is prioritizing it, and then how your community as a whole is prioritizing it. And then we have a question related to the balance between national and state action and local action. So if you can go through that and then hit submit whenever you've completed those questions, and we'll be able to see the responses in real time as they come in. I'll give you all just a couple of minutes to register. You all good? All right. So just looking at the responses, we can see that clearly this is a self-selected group that absolutely prioritizes climate action. Still a high priority as you look at your municipal leadership, which is great, although a little bit more of the 3 or 4 there. And then as we look to communities, somewhat less than that. So kind of intense interest in the narrower circle, which dissipates slightly as you spread out. Not so surprising. It illustrates, I think, both the challenge and the opportunity that all of us confront. And then look at that, 97 to 3%. Seems like it's a pretty good consensus that local government needs to do its part. I would be alarmed if this particular group gave us a different answer, but glad to see that that is everyone's thought. So that's a good foundation for everything that follows, and there will be additional questions for you during the course of the program. But first, let us take a deeper dive into some of our plans for 2026. In my opening comments, I talked about the impact of our existing programs. And to be clear, those are continuing full steam ahead. At the same time, thanks in large measure to the state support that we talked about a moment ago, we are able to launch several new initiatives about which we are really excited, and which in many cases offer opportunities for municipal and community leadership. So we are eager to partner with you. So let's begin with what we call Green My Power. That's our new opt-in clean electricity program. And I invite Dan Welsh, who many of you know, our Director of Clean Energy, and Brad Tito with our partners at Power Market to the podium. Brad and Dan.
Okay, here are my notes. So good to see everybody. Good morning, everyone. Over the past decade, Sustainable Westchester and its municipal members have helped lead one of the most ambitious community energy efforts in New York State. Through community choice aggregation, thousands of households were able to support renewable electricity, and local governments demonstrated that coordinated climate action at the municipal level can deliver real results. At the same time, the energy landscape changed quickly. Energy prices became more unpredictable, the regulations got more complicated, and electricity supply contracts became harder to secure. After careful evaluation, Sustainable Westchester made the disciplined decision to conclude the program. But now we have an opportunity to pursue the same worthy goals in a new way that we call Green My Power. This is a technology and business partnership, similar to our success with Grid Rewards, that makes clean energy participation available to people and organizations that have never had a direct way in. For too long, RECs, the certificates that represent clean energy generation, were largely the domain of big corporations. Green My Power changes that, bringing the REC market directly to residents, small businesses, schools, and municipalities for the first time.
See, we believe that Westchester's commitment to clean energy remains strong. And we now have an opportunity to show what collective action looks like when every household, every business, and every municipality can participate directly. So starting at $4 a month, participants can get a certified, documented record that their home or organization supports clean energy, with no changes to your utility service and no long-term commitments. What's more, if we bundle that service with Grid Rewards or community solar, the cost can be eliminated almost entirely. Or entirely. Slide. So our role at Power Market is to handle the technology, the market relationships, and the program operations so that municipalities and residents can focus on participation and impact, not complexity. So sign up will be simple through a web-based platform, and you can exit the program at any time with no penalties. And an important part of this program is how participation will be supported and how progress will be shared. So we will be publicly tracking participation across communities through a shared dashboard and regional leaderboard. When progress becomes visible, communities respond. Civic pride, friendly competition, and shared learning can become powerful drivers of climate action. And we will work directly with you, our municipalities, to reach residents in ways that you are already very familiar with, through letter-based outreach, dedicated web pages, and materials your staff can use directly without doing the heavy lifting themselves. So we'll be opening enrollment broadly this spring, and we'll be starting with a small number of municipalities to launch this in a deliberate way. So if your community would like to be part of the initial group, we'd be glad to connect after today's meeting. And we also have some flyers here if you want to pick up some information about the program on your way out.
Great, thanks for that. Westchester has never simply talked about climate leadership. It's built practical models for others to follow. Green My Power represents the next chapter in this tradition, and we couldn't be more excited to roll it out again this spring. Thank you.
Thank you.
And I'll just add, this is directly responsive to what we heard from so many municipal leaders last year, wanting to have another alternative for people to really avail themselves of to receive and deliver clean energy. And this is just a teaser that you got right now. A lot more information is going to be following, so you can decide the degree to which you want to partner with us in order to promote the program. Next, I want to say that we're going to be trying to return to and emphasize our roots with enhanced engagement and service directly to our municipal members. And to tell us more about that, here is Lauren Kroll. Lauren.
Hi, Hi, everyone. Great to see so many familiar faces in the room today. If you don't know me, my name is Lauren Kroll. I've been here at Sustainable Westchester for about 3 years, and for the past year, I've been focused on our commercial building decarbonization initiatives. So that includes general advising to property owners and stakeholders, work on thermal energy networks, as well as management of various grant-funded projects. But today, I'm thrilled to support with the announcement that Sustainable Westchester will be establishing a new team focused on enhancing and maximizing engagement with our member municipalities. So many of you will be familiar with or have directly experienced the support that Sustainable Westchester has offered with achieving high impact actions and organizing campaigns through the Climate Smart and Clean Energy Communities programs. We have played a pivotal role in facilitating opportunities for 41 of our 45 member municipalities to leverage existing community solar, demand response, and clean heating and cooling offerings so that you can receive over $500,000 in earned grant funding, which is absolutely huge. So we're looking to build on those successes with this new initiative and leverage those learnings to expand access to our existing program offerings, the ones referenced that will be continuing from all the work that we've been doing to date, so that your constituents can get support with going green, as well as seeing much needed reductions in energy expenses. The municipal engagement team will be working hand in hand with our programs department to enhance participation in programs like grid rewards, Energy Smart Homes, Community Solar, and Solarize, as well as exploring how these programs overlap with Climate Smart Communities point opportunities so that you can get the credit that you deserve with taking environmental action. So whether it's running a demand response campaign with grid rewards, or getting energy audits for your municipal properties, or evaluating thermal energy network opportunities, anything from small to large, we're here to help as always. In the long term, we'll also be supporting municipalities through future iterations of the Clean Energy Communities program, which has been on hold since late 2024. We'll be focusing on how to utilize Sustainable Westchester's full suite of services to help you achieve points and qualify for new grant-based funding opportunities. Simultaneously, we'll be able to help with quantifying and documenting local engagement so that you can demonstrate your municipality's climate impact, as well as meet compliance needs for the Climate Smart and Clean Energy Communities programs. We'll be here to offer hands-on support and serve as a familiar face to attend local meetings, council and board meetings, as well as meeting with your local community partners. So we're really excited to engage in even stronger partnerships than before with our municipal members and provide more robust and dedicated support services. We're looking forward to sharing when the position has been filled, and please do keep us informed about any questions or feedback you have about the program structure going forward. So thanks so much.
Thank you so much, Lauren. Next, we want to share with you what we call Black Gold, and which may be the most ambitious undertaking we have ever pursued. No pressure, Megan, at all. Ladies and gentlemen, Megan Orr.
Hi, everybody. For those who I haven't met, my name is Megan Ort, and I've been with Sustainable Westchester about the same time as Lauren Kroll. We started at the same time about 3 years ago, and I got my start in the community solar program, then moving to Energy Smart Homes, all the while supporting Westchester County residents to reduce their energy bill costs, upgrade their homes to make them more energy efficient, and improve home comfort. But now I'm very excited to be working on something new at SW. Starting very soon, I'll be moving into the commercial solar space and helping to launch our Black Gold initiative. So what is Black Gold? When most people hear that phrase, you might think of Texas oil, but Leo Wiegman has a new vision for Westchester County, and our version of Black Gold is something that we already have in abundance, which is parking lots. So across the county, there are hundreds of parking lots that are large enough to host solar canopies. But we estimate only about 2% of those lots are being utilized in this way. And each acre of those lots has the potential to produce enough electricity to power about 50 homes. And altogether, these larger lots in Westchester County represent about 330 megawatts of solar capacity, enough to power the city of White Plains. And these canopies won't just generate clean power, but they also provide shading in the summer and cutting down snow removal in the winter. So that's where we are, and here's where we're going. With the support from our partners, including financial infusions from the Idelson Foundation and from New York State, we are launching a campaign to dramatically scale solar across the region, including parking lot canopies, but also commercial rooftops and battery storage wherever feasible. And our immediate goal is to increase the county's solar canopy installations from 30 to 300 over 3 years, beginning with 12 initial sites. And as we build this out here in Westchester County, we're also building a toolbox so that other community-based organizations and coalitions across the country can replicate this model and accelerate their own local efforts. But of course, the success of this initiative does depend on the people in this room, because many of you are the connectors, municipal leaders who can help us identify potential sites, partners who can introduce us to property owners and institutions with large parking lots, and leaders who can help us spread the word about this initiative and to spaces that are not, and see that these spaces are not just asphalt, they are untapped energy assets. So we see this as an opportunity for Westchester County to continue leading, to rethink land use, to generate new, clean, local energy, and to build a model that communities across the country can also replicate. And at a time of economic and political impediments, we think that this is the opportunity for tangible and rapid progress. So if you take one thing away from this today, is that with your help, that Sustainable Westchester's new initiative, parking lots are soon to become the black gold of Westchester County. Thank you so much.
And just to emphasize one thing Megan mentioned, that grant from the Idelson Foundation, the first time a national organization has provided funding to Sustainable Westchester, and that is recognition that the model Megan described is impactful not just here in Westchester, but could create a standard that can be replicated elsewhere. So we're really excited to pursue that. Next, let us hear from our friend Leo Wiegman about our effort to advance safe and sensible solar and battery storage regulations. Leo.
Thank you, Noam. Good morning, everyone. It's great to see a full lecture hall, but it'll be a brief lecture. And I wanted to start that last outro with the theme song from the Beverly Hillbillies, Jed Clampett driving the truck out west, but we thought we might run into copyright infringement, so we dropped that. As more solar and energy storage projects are being proposed throughout the county, Sustainable Westchester has been tracking local regulations for these throughout the last number of years. So we encourage you as municipalities to use us as a resource as you review your local energy storage code to assist in your adoption of sensible and proactive local legislation for these important infrastructure projects. So let's highlight some of the trends emerging throughout the county. The big takeaway from local laws regulating solar systems is that, number one, 2/3 of our member municipalities, that's 29 out of 43 that issue permits, have adopted some form of local regulation to enable solar installations in their communities. Second, the most common approach for 19 of these municipalities is to regulate solar based on size, using a progression from an as-of-right use for smaller systems to a higher level of scrutiny for larger systems by adopting a 2, 3, or even 4-tier or size gradation approach. We think this graduated approach makes great sense. And when we look at energy storage, the big takeaway from local laws regulating battery energy storage systems is that, number one, the most common approach, used by just under half, 40 of our 43 municipalities, is to enable battery energy storage under regulated size gradations of 2, 3, or 4 tiers. The larger the size, the higher the level of scrutiny. Again, we favor this graduated approach for battery energy storage systems because we know it's already been working well for solar, and the two technologies, solar plus energy storage, are increasingly going to be deployed together to form microgrid installations. So we're here to inform and encourage our municipal members to tailor local regulations to best fit your current energy and future energy needs while protecting local health, safety, and welfare. And now on a related matter, in October 2025, the New York Community Trust awarded a 2-year grant for Yes in My Backyard. That's YIMBY, not NIMBY. Under this grant, Sustainable Westchester partners with 3 other nonprofits, the New York League of Conservation Voters, Renewable Energy Long Island, and Sustainable Hudson Valley. The goal is to work together in a highly coordinated way to advance solar and energy storage solutions in New York City, Long Island, and the lower Hudson Valley. Combining renewable energy with sophisticated energy storage capacity, i.e. creating microgrids, is essential for our clean energy transition. Under the grant, we will develop a solar and storage champions curriculum to help decision makers. We'll train clean energy champions throughout our larger region. We'll co-host public events with local decision makers like yourselves and subject matter experts, and we'll build partnerships with trade organizations, first responders, fire departments, and the media. For example, this work will help disseminate a number of facts on key topics such as, number 1, the new statewide fire code safety regulations that are now mandatory for all solar and battery safety storage systems and are the most rigorous in the nation, effective January 1st, 2026. And 2, case studies of successful community solar and other solar projects and energy storage microgrid facilities as they come online. Each organization has expertise that we are sharing to avoid reinventing the wheel while making local expertise generalizable to the entire region. So look for your first Yes in My Backyard event coming late April. The topic will be, what is battery energy storage and why do we need it? Stay tuned. Thank you.
We recognize that the issue of battery storage is a complicated one. Many of the municipal leaders here are wrestling with it in cross currents of challenge and public opinion and so forth. It is not the place of an organization like ours to apply pressure. It is our role to inform, to educate, to encourage, to be a resource to you. And with that in mind, our next set of interactive questions relates to battery storage. We'd like to get your sense of how important it is, what level of safety concerns you may have, what tools would be most useful to you and your colleagues in navigating this landscape. So please go to the same link and fill out the survey in the same way that you did before, and we'll look at what the collective responses are. I'll give it just one more minute. Okay, everyone good? All right, so the results looks like a pretty significant percentage recognizing that battery energy storage systems are important to a clean power grid. Clean energy generation is intermittent, so you need to make sure you have the power when it's needed. Looks like individually, folks satisfied that this is a safe technology, but a recognition that others in leadership positions or in the community do have concerns, which need to be addressed. And then in terms of what will be helpful, testimonials from public safety professionals clearly scoring high, updates on safety and fire standards, site visits to best facilities. Looks like everything would be helpful, so we're going to have to go, Leo, all things will have to be done. Model codes and ordinances, additional information about best technology. We heard from Ken already. Thank you very, very much for those responses. That forms an excellent start for the work that we're going to be undertaking that Leo described, and we're looking forward to further engagement so we can be helpful to you as we try to make sensible decisions about a clean energy future that is also safe. With that, I would like to bring on the last of our presenters of new initiatives. And it is also going to be the subject of our featured panel discussion in just a moment. To talk about workforce development, I'm delighted to bring up Yasmin Najjar. Yasmin.
Hello everyone, Yasmin Najjar, Senior Program Manager for Environmental Justice and Workforce Development at Sustainable Westchester. I am thrilled to share 2 new workforce development initiatives we'll be leading this year, the Healthy Home Academy Training Program and the HEART Program, which stands for Heating, Energy, and Refrigeration Training. But first, I want to give a special thanks to our funders, the New York Power Authority and Con Edison, and our partner, Healthy Home Academy, who are all here and made these programs possible. Let's all give them a big round of applause. So these programs build on the momentum of the Clean Energy Accelerator program we ran for 3 years in partnership with the Westchester County Office of Economic Development. I want to give a special thanks to our county partners, Ken Jenkins and Bridget Gibbons, for really allowing us to establish a strong footing in the workforce development sector. And from that experience, we learned a few important things. Employers need certified workers, trainers need more students, and Westchester County residents are eager for more clean energy opportunities. And to respond to those needs, we created these programs. So let's talk about them. The Healthy Home Academy training program funded by NYPA is a 2-year program that will recruit 120 students. It's a fully funded opportunity that high school graduates and adults looking to transition careers have access to, but it does have a special focus on expanding access to residents that live within state-identified disadvantaged communities. They can choose 2 training tracks, whether that be heat pump or home performance, and once selected, they will receive a full scholarship, hands-on training, industry-recognized certifications, mentorship, and job placement support. The HEART program funded by Con Edison builds on this model, but specifically focuses on training 2 clean energy training ambassadors. So they will go through the training, secure a job, being part of this really cool filming project where they could share their stories and inspire others in disadvantaged communities to pursue clean energy careers. At Sustainable Westchester, we believe a successful clean energy transition requires a well-trained and diverse workforce. And programs like this really help municipalities streamline workforce development work and energy efficiency projects, while at the same time boosting the local economy. So we're looking to you for your support. At the end of this meeting, we're going to be sending out information and flyers about these programs. We'll really appreciate you circulating this to your municipal channels, newsletters, community platforms, social media pages, and more. We already connected with the Workforce Development Board, educational institutions, nonprofits, and municipal housing authorities. But if there's any other connections you can help facilitate, we will really appreciate that. Right now, we already successfully filled our first cohort. They're now 2 weeks into their training, and in about 3 weeks, we're going to be connecting them with employment opportunities. And our next cohort is starting in the spring, with many more scheduled throughout this year and next. So we welcome your partnership in raising awareness and believe together we'll be able to empower residents with a life-changing opportunity. And with that, I'd like to pass it on to my workforce development partner and the COO of Sustainable Westchester, Kat Sales, to lead our workforce development panel. Thank you.
Before I begin, I'd like to actually welcome our panelists to come join me at the front here. So if you're on our panel, please walk towards the front and come sit down. Hi everyone, I'm Kat Sales and I'm the Chief Operating Officer at Sustainable Westchester. I've had the pleasure of working with this incredible team for the last 2.5 years, and I'm delighted to lead today's workforce development panel. The transition to a clean energy economy is creating new opportunities for jobs, skills development, and community growth. At the same time, there are challenges in preparing and connecting workers to these opportunities, especially in ways that are inclusive and equitable. As we just heard from Yasmin, Sustainable Westchester is committed to meeting these challenges head-on and is thrilled to collaborate with partners equally committed to a clean energy workforce. To explore these questions, we are delighted to bring together a panel with deep experience and diverse perspectives. And now let me introduce them. We have Sandra Bleckman in the Workforce Development, who's the Workforce Development Project Director at the New York Power Authority. Kevin Brenner is the founder and president of Healthy Home Energy and Consulting. Eric Agus is the co-founder of Rivertown Solar. Sean Patterson Howard is the mayor of Mount Vernon and a member of Sustainable Westchester's board of directors. Paul Pressendew is the political action lead with We Act for Change and is well known for his environmental leadership across the county. Kyla Wilson is the Clean Energy and Tech Workforce Partnerships Manager at Con Edison. Thank you all so much for your leadership and for joining us on the panel today. And now we're going to get to our first round of questions. We're going to start with Kevin and Eric. Both of you lead businesses in the clean energy workforce. Kevin, you're also a trainer. From your perspective, what are the biggest challenges facing clean energy businesses trying to recruit qualified workers, and what are the obstacles confronting workers who are trying to upskill?
Great question is kind of the question, or the question of this generation. I think one of the challenges is finding people. You're in Westchester. We're a very fortunate county in a lot of ways, and we want to explain to the public and to the parents that having a job in the trades is actually a really, really good way to make a living and actually contribute to society. I don't want to sound that emotional about it, but that's the way that I feel about it. It's also one of the things that I think we're fortunate this winter in a way, because we had a very cold winter. We had high energy bills. We have higher energy bills now with the world activities. And being in the trades now, particularly in the energy efficiency trades, is not a job that is going to be replaced by AI anytime soon. Right? And I don't say that to be funny. I mean that seriously. My kids are in the working world, and they're friends, and they're worried about their jobs. But in this particular industry, I don't see robots replacing people in this particular industry for a while now. So I think the challenge is basically to get the word out there that this is a great way to make a living. It's very satisfying, and it also pays well.
Eric?
I don't know if I have a mic.
We're skipping this.
Great. I think solar kind of exploded out of the gates in the mid to late 2000s, and it's been a bit of it's heavily subsidized, and it's historically been heavily subsidized, and that's created these kind of boom bust cycles in the industry, and so we'll go through one of those cycles, we'll accrue a lot of workers, and then the market will shrink, subsidies will be cut in the same way that this just happened last July. There was a major subsidy cut, the ITC. And then the workforce will shrink. And so the people that we maybe scaled up with might start to see the industry as unstable, and then they're going to want to transition to another career. We've had several solar installers join us, and then they see that they see the waxing and waning of the business. And they're like, well, can I start to work more on the electrical side of the business? I want to be an electrician, right? So just the stabilization, the stabilizing of the market, of the solar economy, would go a long way to supporting workforce development, so that potential tradespeople would see this as more of a stable career. So.
All right, Sean, as a mayor, you're viewing this from a different perspective. You represent thousands of people who are looking for economic opportunity. What do you see as the municipal role in workforce development, and how can other leaders, like in the audience today, ensure that constituents benefit from the clean energy transition?
I definitely see municipal leaders' role as being one of partnership. But not necessarily working through the municipality. I think the municipal leader is the convener of the discussion. The municipal leader should be pulling together, especially in communities of color, the real leaders who are going to be able to pull in those who trust them to get this work done. Far too often I see people come in and say, oh, can we do a workshop? Can we use a community center? And that's very nice and it's very cute, but it's not effective. And so we've brought in programs, as has been said, over the years. Clean energy is not the first workforce development opportunity that we've seen coming through our communities. Years ago, it was HVAC, it was construction trades, it was flaggers. And in all of those industries, it was the same thing. You come in, you get the trade, you get the certificate, the agencies that had the grants get paid, but the people didn't always get jobs. Or if they got jobs, they were jobs that ended up being transient. And so people lost trust in all of these really, really great workforce opportunities that were going to give them careers and change their lives. And so we have to find a way to dig deeper, not just in training and skilling people, but with those people who have the contracts. Municipal leaders must make sure that anyone who is doing work in their community, that the contractors are hiring local, that there is a community benefit to this. It's no longer enough to come in and do a training program, have a graduation, and hand out certificates that don't lead to anywhere. And it's also when we bring clean energy programs, and I think it's connected, we bring clean energy programs into communities and we say, this is going to save you money. The heat pumps. I mean, I've never seen an outreach into a community like the heat pumps. And in a way, it's been a disaster for Mount Vernon. My residents are coming back to me and they're telling me their costs are higher, that it's not warm, that it's not working efficiently. And then the people who came in, when you come in with a program without education and support, it's not help, it's preying on a community of people who don't understand. And they pushed heat pumps, but there was no evaluation of whether or not the house could handle it. And so I could drive down the street and see 8 to 10 heat pump, pieces on the outside of a house, and that's just far too much. So there has to be more done insofar as trust, because yes, people need jobs, but they want to know that after they have sat down and gone through a class, that there are real work opportunities, that there are companies who have these contracts who are ready to hire them. And then also, are we providing the support services, whether it's transportation, whether it's childcare, whether it's mentoring and coaching, to have people who, once they get these jobs, keep the jobs. If you're talking about reaching the right people, you can't hold everyone's hand. I'm a tough cookie, right? But we have to find something in the middle between making promises that end up nowhere and over providing people who don't want to take advantage of a situation with too much support. We have to find a happy median. And we have to partner with agencies who are of color. I mean, Soulful Synergy, I know they were invited, but they said no, right? We have environmental leaders of color. They're doing heat pump training. There are agencies of color in this county that are doing this work and providing this training, but they don't feel like they're partners.
Thank you. Sandra and Kyla, you represent enormous institutions, a public sector agency, and a publicly regulated utility, and that gives you a regional and statewide perspective. Can you tell us why this is a priority for NYPA and for Con Ed, and how you and your colleagues are meeting this challenge?
You want me to start? Okay, yeah, sure. So Sandra Bleckman with NYPA, and really it's part of our core and our mission, which is to lead the transition to a carbon-free economy, like a vibrant New York. And I think that you brought up so many great points that I want to start talking, but I was just on the phone with Dwayne from Soulful Synergy on my way in the building today. So one of the things I can say is NYPA is really committed to this. We're committed to the workforce development. Prior to me coming to NYPA, environmental justice has always been on the table. Kyla Mensah was just approved to be on the board here. She is my colleague. I came on to NYPA in 2024, enacted through the state budget. We now are empowered to invest up to $25 million in clean energy workforce training. You heard a little bit about the training, which I'll speak about more, but we're really committed to this effort. We want to make sure that there are jobs at the end of the road, right? I've been in workforce development for a long time, and I can attest to what you're saying is true. Train people up, we get them certified, but there are no jobs. Our goal is to make sure that our partners that we are funding have those connections, relationships, and partnerships. We're working with our contractors to marry the two, right? Once our training programs are done, how do we connect them to our contractors? We want to make sure that people are working and thriving in their local community, being brought in on these jobs. And so through this statewide effort, we're able to look at these programs and really assess, because we also have people doing the work, right? We have subject matter experts who can look at a training program and say, this makes sense, or maybe we need to change this. This isn't the right technology. So we're in a unique position because we actually are an industry partner, but also a training, funding these training programs. And I think that's one of the key things that is sometimes missing in those programs, is that there's no industry partner behind to help and inform your curriculum. So we're trying to marry the two and bridge that gap together through the funding that we have.
And I'll piggyback off of Sandra. We often are in these same positions
Yes.
where we're talking together, and it's all of that to New York City and Westchester and Orange and Rockland County with Con Edison. We know we're forging forward with a clean energy transition. We're investing in our infrastructure to electrify and looking at those measures 30 years out. We know how much work is going to go into this, and we know the training and the people power that has to go into this. And so we're investing $22 million a year across 3 areas. One, for our charitable giving. So this is specifically for nonprofits, community organizations doing this work, specifically looking at social justice and organizations that are working on the ground, like Sustainable Westchester, to organize communities, specifically low-income, disadvantaged communities, communities of color, to make sure that they can benefit from the clean energy transition. And actually, when we think about affordability, it seems to be the snap word of the day, but it's an important thing that we're all thinking about. What does that truly mean, and what is the utility required to do, and what are not required but expected, and how do we play that role? But how do we work with community to actually keep moving that forward? Then the second area is extreme weather. If we don't have resiliency, if we're not actually building and preparing our green space, our tree canopies, our space for the extreme heat, for the future flooding, we're in a lot of trouble. So we're investing in organizations that are working in that space. And then the third area is the workforce training, and that's where I oversee, just came in about 2.5 years ago. This is a new kind of investment area for Con Ed. We haven't invested in this before, but we're really taking a hard look to align with our business priorities, which right now is really around weatherization. To your point, if we're going to electrify without actually making sure that the homes are sound and can actually hold the heat in, then we're doing a major disservice and really pushing up the cost of home heat and air. So a lot of our incentives that we just got approved through our recent rate case are focused on weatherization, and so that's the workforce also that we're really thinking about, the energy efficiency side. And so that means that for us, we're bringing together all of our contractors. We have a contractor network who then work with other contractors and contractors in the field, and we're organizing them, pulling them together and saying, what do you need for workforce? Because what I hear from some of them is that we don't have enough people, we're going to have to go buy another company so we can get enough people. And we're saying, we have people, we have training organizations that are biting to get people in the door, and our training organizations are saying we can't get anyone hired. So there's a huge disconnect there. And so part of the workforce funding is not only the skills training and the career pathways, so young people and all people kind of know what jobs are out there, but it's also connecting these dots and finding where these holes are, where these gaps are. Because what an entry-level job is to a workforce provider from some of our workforce training organizations, and what our entry-level job for some of these energy efficiency companies, they're not the same thing, and that's a problem. And so we're really working together to figure out what are the credentials that are needed, what are the experience, is it a 2-year apprenticeship? That's how it used to be, that's what we used to do all the time, right? So do we work on building those systems back in place? Or, can it be something as easy as a quick turnaround? Not really. So we're really working on that and pulling it all together while using the expertise of all of us. It's a ecosystem that we're building and excited to have Sustainable Westchester involved as a new grantee this year, and others in the room. If you know that we're constantly trying to look for new partners and how we can do this better.
Kevin wanted to add.
Yeah, I just want to add something to what Sean said because it's so important. We have a room full of community leaders, and you know, I'm in the business of training and educating, and also I'm in the business of implementing heat pumps and home performance weatherization. And when I drive around, I'm also a Westchester County Deputy Sheriff, so I drive around Mount Vernon a lot. My wife grew up in New Rochelle. I go through the neighborhood, and I see these houses, particularly this winter, that have snow melting on the roof because all of the heat is escaping through their house, and they have 5 heat pump units on the outdoors. And it makes me want to puke, right? Because heat pumps should not be in that house, period. I really think that the community leaders in this room need to educate themselves on what houses should have a heat pump as is, what houses could make improvements so that they can have a heat pump, and that needs to go together, and it really is about community education. You have a lot of people that see a heat pump program in New York. I don't want to say you have a lot of people, but there are companies out there that have a heat pump program in New York State, and boom, they open up a heat pump program, and they're installing heat pumps in houses that should not have heat pumps. And guess what? That's bad for everybody. It's bad for the residents. It's bad for the industry. It's bad for us as a community. And it's so important that people understand this. They don't have to understand the technology, although it's simple. They don't have to understand the technology, but you as community leaders, it's your responsibility to educate your communities about these funds, how a heat pump works, what houses it should be. And I am here to offer to every one of you that education. No cost, no anything. You want to come up to our training academy, take a look, I'll sit with you, and you give me 2 hours, and you'll understand more than 95% of the people who are installing heat pumps now in houses that shouldn't go. And that's a genuine offer.
And if I could just piggyback on what you said, it's about the collaboration. It's
Right.
about the collaboration between the municipality, using the municipal leaders, as I said, as conveners, to bring together everyone, right? Including Con Ed and the different energy organizations, because what you see are these incentive programs, and so you say if you install these, we'll pay for it, it's free to the residents. And that creates a type of behavior that it's about the installation. It's not about whether the installation is appropriate or not. If you're paying people based on how many units they can get installed, then they're just going to push it. And so there is not the educational component. There's not the weatherization component where you've gone to see if these homes are appropriate. And so then you see the higher energy bills, and there becomes a distrust of the clean energy arena. They feel that they've been taken. And so we have to coordinate our responses and make sure that it's a comprehensive approach. We have to aim, then shoot. I find out often when there's something new that comes out, we shoot, we realize what's wrong, we go back and we try and write the policies after we've implemented the programs, instead of taking an extra step because we're worried that the funding's going to go away, something's going to happen, we have to get this out here right away, and we get it out right away, and then we have to pull so much of it back to fix it but by then the damage is done. And so we don't want to continue to lose the trust. Communities of color, I said it before, and Julie knows, I said, we're dealing with housing, public safety, education, affordability, things of that nature. Sustainability is not the first thing on the minds of poor people and people of color, right? They have 20 other things to deal with before they even think about sustainability issues. But it impacts our communities and poor people the most when it's not done well. And so we have to make sure that we're very careful in how we will roll programs out, because they need it desperately. And it took me a while to come to this, but now that I'm in it, I'm not just on the green, but I'm on the blue side, because, the green is the heat and the energy, the blue side is the water and sewage and wastewater and all of those things. So all of it has to work together, and I think that there are people who are willing to do it, but we have to engage them in a way that is significant and sincere and not ceremonial.
Sustainable Westchester send out Mr. Brenner's information so that we can actually...
Absolutely. We'll give you his personal cell phone.
Mr. Brenner who?
We'll give you his partner Brad's contact information. So I want to make sure we get to Paul, because we haven't gotten to ask Paul a question yet. So Paul, you've been a passionate advocate for sustainability and environmental justice. How do we ensure that opportunities and benefits are shared as broadly as possible, especially in frontline communities where the needs are the greatest?
First of all, thank you for inviting me, Kat. Thank you, Yasmin, as well. And while I'm very, very happy to be here to talk with all of you and see people I haven't seen in many, many years, I am also very disappointed in the lack of diversity in this room, because this is where it starts. This is a county that's trending to be Black and Latino at around 60% by the time the 2030 census tract data drops. And we need to make sure that we're building the bench of energy and environmental professionals that culturally resonate with the communities that historically have not been engaged. The only two Black people I see here is myself and the President Emeritus of the National African Americans Mayor Association. The only person I know that's a Latino as well as me is Enrique. I don't know, si hay otro Latino aquí también. But it's important that we build a bench of people that we need to empower to be the ambassadors, so they could go into communities like Port Chester, they could go into communities like Melbourne, they could go into communities like New Rochelle and share how this program in environmental sustainability also meets in terms of universal climate economics. I'm not a subject matter expert. North Salem, that's for you, Mr. Supervisor, or Pound Ridge, that's for you, Mr. Supervisor, or Lewisboro. But when it comes to communities that historically have not been accessing these resources and don't trust the people that are giving them this resource because they don't look like them, and they don't resonate with the trials and tribulations they go through, that's where it means that we need to make sure that we are being as equitable as possible, building the broad coalition. Westchester County is a quilt, and it's not a blanket, so it's a point that we identify each community as its own potential playground of where we could build our own subject matter experts, engage with people that care, showing them how to be the technocrats of their own neighborhood association, and then most importantly, showing how they can have a methodology of empowering their neighbors to follow in their footsteps. And I'm not saying this to say like, you guys are doing a terrible job in rooms of people that helped me become who I am today, like Peter McCart, Nina Orville, Anjali, I don't see her anymore, but I saw her walking in. A lot of you helped me gain the understanding that I have now. And the glass is half full for me. There's so many communities that don't have sustainable Westchester. The other 61 counties in New York State, or the other 3,142 counties in the United States of America don't have entities like this. So it's really on us to really show what the methodology approach does through intersectionalism, but most importantly, engaging people that have trusted confidence with the communities so they know how to create their own 501c3, or how they could be able to create their own Bedford 2030 in Mount Vernon or in Port Chester, and be able to be the ones that could be the fiscal sponsors as opposed to being the worker bees for workforce development.
All right, thank you. So to close out our panel, we're going to have a lightning round question for everyone, and anyone can jump in here. Tell me something that gives you cause for optimism and hope. How can we walk away from this morning feeling that the opportunities for progress are real and that we have the capacity to seize them? Who wants to take this one first? Kevin?
I'll take it. Wow, I was voluntold.
I know.
The opportunity is there. At our training program, that thanks to Sustainable Westchester and to NIPA and to Con Ed, we're able to, we're in the middle of our first class now, which is extremely diverse. And I consider it personally a failure if we don't place these. It happens to be a class of all men. I would like it to be different than that. That's what it is right now. And we consider it a failure if they're not placed in a competitively paying job. So the opportunity are there. All of my, if you say to anybody in the trades now and other organizations, what's our biggest problem? We can't find good help. You know, that's it. Well, we can solve that, and so the opportunity is there for young people, and it doesn't have to be young people either. There are career changers. Our age of the class right now is from 18 to 52. Those are the people that are sitting in the seats right now. So it doesn't just have to be young people, career changers who realize, you know, my job could be replaced by a robot or an AI bot at some point. I'm interested in sitting here. So that's the optimism that I feel. It's what we need to do as a community if we're trying to solve a bunch of these environmental justice, you know, sustainability, all of these things. We need to train people who can actually execute this work. By the way, my offer about having people come up is sincere, it's genuine. Kat will just distribute my information, and I want to make that happen because you guys, you people in this room are the ones that can make the difference, right? That's part of, I would think, part of your mission, whatever organization you're with. That offer is sincere, and it will be mildly entertaining and very informative.
Definitely entertaining. Who else would like to jump in?
So, you know, one of our greatest opportunities right now is the horrific weather that we've experienced over this past year. You know, extreme weather that we've experienced, and you know, before climate change and sustainability was something that didn't feel tangible. I think the winter that we experienced, and even yesterday it was 74. It wasn't even scheduled to be 74 degrees. That wasn't the prediction for the weather, that people are seeing their opportunities. And yes, people are afraid about AI and how that can take jobs. And so we definitely want to make sure that we are partnering with the youth bureaus, with EOC, with the community colleges, and some of the STEM high schools that we have throughout our county, to make sure that we're reaching the people and embedding programs even in those places where there are already captive audiences, and that we're creating a real workforce development pipeline. And then definitely partnering with more of the human service organizations to ensure that we're providing the supportive services that are going to help maybe more women. There are women who are saying, I'm interested in moving into this space. I want to learn about installing heat pumps, but some of them are dealing with childcare issues. And so we're not asking Sustainable Westchester and the people in this room to do that piece, because that's not our job. But it is our job to say, if we're looking to recruit people who are different to this area, what are some of the needs that they're going to have? And then how can we go out and partner with other organizations that provide childcare, that provide transportation, that provide workforce mentoring, and make sure that those are connected to any of the programs that we're supporting, so that we have that very deep opportunity for success, and to make the employment programs and the success of the employment program sustainable. Right? Because we don't want to just graduate people. We want to see people move into careers. And I think there is a shift. I think people are moving from career to career. So there's an opportunity to engage older people. There's an opportunity to also engage women in careers that they would not have traditionally gone into. But we also have to make sure that we have the supports available to them that allow them to switch over and look at doing something very differently.
We have time for one more.
I was just going to, the one thing that gives me the most optimism is everyone in this room bursting at the seams, listening. Collaboration is so key, right? We've talked about partnership. Not one organization can do it alone. Training organizations are not, they're experts in training, they're not experts in wraparound services and support services. So building that ecosystem is super important. We're able to, and I see more and more agencies, we're able to cover and support wraparound services. We're giving stipends for on-the-job learning. I say it all the time. I said it yesterday. I was on a site visit. If someone asked me to take 10 weeks off of work and have no income at all, how could I do that? Most of the people in this room, 10 weeks to take a class and upskill is great, but if you don't have anything supporting you in the back end, it's not feasible. So people are leaving these trainings because they get a job, and that's rightfully so. And so then retention goes down. So we need that full system to support the student, and the job is the most important piece. So I think just taking anything away from today is really we just all need to work together. All the right people are in the room and everyone has a specialty, but if we can work together, we can bridge that gap and really move the needle. Dwayne called me, I just said before, he was like, we have people interviewing for jobs next week for $40 an hour. We're seeing real placements, real money, and jobs. And so I think we've really just got to work a little bit harder to work together.
Wonderful. On behalf of Sustainable Westchester and all of our members, thank you all for leading the conversation this morning and for your partnership. And before I turn the podium back to Noam, let's give our panel a big round of applause.
Just be careful because you have a question. I don't want you to.
I happen to know Kat had a whole battery of questions prepared because sometimes panelists are shy about expressing their thoughts and are quick in how they express those thoughts. That was not an issue here. So I really thank all of you for a great discussion, and more than that, an important discussion with a lot of real talk that cuts through some of the pleasantries that sometimes cloud the real challenges that we're confronting. So I appreciate it. I also want to do a public service announcement for our Energy Smart Homes team, because to Sean's excellent point about services which in some hands can be helpful and in other hands can be predatory, what we do every single day with a special concentration on low and moderate income households is provide that individualized guidance. What do the technologies do? Are they appropriate for you? What are the incentives that you can obtain? And because the landscape of contractors can be the good, the bad, and the ugly, we vet those contractors and recommend those who are reputable. So absolutely take up Kevin's offer to become educated yourself. But even if you don't do that, remember, we are your shared service. So take advantage of that and make sure your residents know that we are there to help them make the best choices for themselves. So again, big round of applause for the panelists who were so hopefully during the course of the program you have submitted some questions. And if you haven't already done so, I'd like you to go back to your phones, same link, scroll through the questions, and upvote the questions that are of greatest interest to you. You can only vote for one question once, but you could vote for multiple questions if there are a few that interest you. I'm going to give you a couple of minutes to do that, and then we're going to try to address the questions that receive the highest number of votes. I'll try to do it myself, but in all likelihood, I'll have to throw some of those questions to members of our team. Okay, does anyone need more time? Are you guys good? Give like 30 more seconds. Okay, you got it. Okay, so let me do my best here, and I'll try to at least answer the top three. So the first, anonymously submitted, we are thinking about electrifying our municipal landscaping equipment. Can Sustainable Westchester help with that process? The answer is yes. We are currently working, and this is no reflection on my prior role, but we're working with the City of New Rochelle. Councilmember Kay is very familiar with it. Bringing in the American Green Zone Alliance and Quiet Communities to try to develop a multi-year program through which the municipal departments, Parks and Recreation and Department of Public Works, can cycle out their gas-powered equipment and cycle in electrified equipment. We also want to partner with the city government to provide education to local landscapers who may be interested in a similar transition. This is the first community that we're doing this with, but we hope that we will be in a position to expand that service. Kat has actually been our lead on that. And I would say if this is something that you're ready to do, please be in touch with us and let us know. And we will work with you to see if we can come up with a package of services that meets your municipal needs. Kat, is there anything that you want me to add to that?
Nope, that was great.
All right, terrific. So second question, and Joe, you want to vocalize it so I don't steal your voice? Where's Joe Sartani? Joe, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, we're all part of the same boat with CEC and CSC. We're trying to go for silver in May. And the CCA program was, I don't know the number of points, but it was a lot. So with that shortfall, like, is there a plan to make it up? Is NYSERDA going to change the requirements, knowing the situation?
Yep.
Trying to help out my community.
Yep, it's a great question. I'm going to try, but I may enlist Lauren to say more. Okay, go ahead.
Speak to it a little bit. For climate smart communities, I'm not sure about the changes specifically there, but for clean energy communities, they just released an RFI like about a month and a half or so ago with some updated information about some of the new high impact actions and revisions. I don't believe seeing CCA on there, so it might be in like a different format related to green electricity supply and supporting it at a local level. So the program's still under design, yielding feedback from municipalities, but I think it's a good opportunity to get in touch with, NYSERDA. We can form connections to the community and local governments team to, help advocate for that and see, what alternatives are in place.
But nothing on the CSC front.
Yes, nothing that I've heard, at least.
So, I'll just add a couple of things to that. First, for those who don't know, the Westchester Power experience was not specific to Westchester alone or to Sustainable Westchester. CCA all around the state is sunsetting. And as a consequence of that, it's almost certain that any statewide program which assigns points to that will have to allocate those points towards other forms of environmental action. But we certainly would be pleased to engage state authorities about whether something like Green My Power could be accorded credit. And as Lauren mentioned in her presentation, we are really aiming for a much richer, deeper municipal engagement this year and beyond. And so we hope that we will be an even greater resource as you try to get those points and the grant funding that's associated with it. All right, third question. Tell us more about how to convert parking lots to solar farms. Leo or Megan, would one of you be in a position to just say a little bit more?
Yeah, sure. So there are 12,300 paved parking lots in Westchester County. Some are tiny, and some are very large. There's about 300 that are significantly large. The economies of scale of putting a parking structure up would be absolutely positive, a good value. And there's another 1,000 or so where it's probably a very good possibility. So that gives you, let's say, 1,200 parking lots that you would look at first. The prospect with parking lots is that they're often located next to other existing infrastructure, which is often located next to existing three-phase electric service from the local utility. And so those combinations are what you need to make this work. You need a good electrical connection so that your interconnection costs with the utility are manageable if they're scalable across the size of the parking lot. Obviously, when you build a parking lot canopy for the facility owner, that facility owner then can offer sheltered parking for their customers, employees, et cetera, visitors, which is a permanent benefit to that location. There are enough third-party investors in canopies and community solar projects or solar parking canopies, whether it's behind the meter for that facility or whether it's a community solar project, that it doesn't have to rely on the site owner's capital. It can use other people's capital to fund that. And the site owner would then either become a recipient of a lease payment or recipient of some of the energy at a lower rate than what they might be paying the utility currently. So there are financially viable ways to do this, depending on sites. One of the innovations that we're looking at is we may have parking lots that are adjacent to each other with multiple owners, if you go down Terrytown Road or other places. And we would like to work in a coordinated fashion to have multiple parcels bundled together and process that as an interconnection with the utility as a package of sites, but then share the cost of that interconnection. That needs a new transformer. And so that aggregation and that collective action is sort of the secret sauce that we're going to bring to this. The people who park under the 5 acres of parking lot canopies in my village at Cloak Farm train station parking lot will love it. And their car is, their car is shady in the summer and not covered with icy snow in the winter. So it's a public benefit. And we do have that as a tremendous resource. So we'll be articulating this and sending in information and meeting with individual municipalities who may want to convene their chambers of commerce. Because as Mayor Patterson mentioned, that the municipal leaders can often be the conveners of their constituents. We'll need to come in and explain this to your local business development authority, your local chamber of commerce, and so on.
Leo, thank you. That's perfect. Perfect. Thank you very, very much. And in addition to the sort of the efficiencies that Leo described, our theory of the case is that in many cases the obstacle is not physical, and it's not even economic, because these are systems that will make sense for the property owners. The obstacle is lack of awareness, lack of bandwidth, the brain damage that's associated with having to understand something that's unfamiliar. And so interventions early on in this process with expertise and coordination and economies of scale, we think can have an outsized impact, and we're going to be looking to work with each of you in order to accomplish that goal. So I want to save at least a little bit of time for networking. So we're going to hold just those top 3 questions. But there's one last thing, and this is for only the chief elected officials and their proxies, not for everyone else. And this is a new QR code, please. So if you are a chief elected official or proxy, please scan this, and you will see this is a series of questions about how we can engage with you going forward. I know it's Tom's intent to do a kind of municipal tour, meeting either in a public context with your board of trustees or city councils, or in a private context with staff. We'd like to know how we can best follow up to meet your needs, so please just take about 2 minutes to fill out that survey, and we will follow up with you on an individualized basis. While the municipal leaders complete that survey, let me bring the program to a close by thanking each of you for attending and for participating, by inviting you, as I said before, to network with our team out in the hall, and lastly and personally, by expressing gratitude for the opportunity to work at your sides for the past 2+ years, and gratitude also for those terrific sour gummies, which I will enjoy. Have a wonderful morning, everyone. Thank you.